Man, where do I even start? Well, this is going to be a very, very special kind of video. Sorry for the kind of shitty mask. It was a project that I tried to do as good as possible to get a full-on Spidey mask with lenses involved without a face shell, and kind of messed up on it. But anyway, as you could probably tell, I basically am on my bed. That is how I actually record my videos, on my bed. But Tobey Spider-Man, he's very special to me as a Spider-Man. And well, this video is going to basically be a very special video. It's gonna be pretty long, and just to kind of put it into perspective, I was a very, very small child when the first Spider-Man movie came out for Tobey. I was actually in my mom's kind of womb while they were at the theaters, and then I was born during the same year, of course, in November. And yeah, then when I was born, those movies were always around, and then I went to the theaters to go see the Spider-Man 2 when I was really, really little. And then, of course, 2007 comes around, and Spider-Man 3 was pretty big in my life, and these movies were very, very special to me. And also, if my voice does not exactly match my mouth movements while I'm wearing the mask, it is because, if you didn't notice, I actually record my voicing after I make the videos. So, I mean, hopefully it doesn't, hinder the, viewing experience, but that is just something I do just due to the fact that I do not have a good mic on my phone, and it's just easier this way. But yeah, so basically this is kind of just like a story time of how much Tobey means to me, and I know Tobey means a lot to everyone else as well, too. And so I wanted to do this video right, because I have been looking for the most perfect hot toy, well, not just hot toys, but I've been looking for the most perfect Tobey figure, and I think that this figure is it. I think this is going to be the perfect Tobey figure that I've been looking for and want to add to the collection. And pretty soon here, I'm going to actually show a little bit of my Tobey Maguire Spider-Man collection. So I hope you guys, enjoy that. And I just wanted to make this, again, pretty special. And, yeah, so Tobey's Spider-Man has been a pretty big part of my life. I was very happy when he came back in No Way Home. And he's just my all-around perfect live-action Spider-Man. I think he's the best. And, it just goes to show that, one character can make a difference. And, I know this kind of setup right here for this little story time thing kind of seems very Spider Criminal-ish with the whole mask situation going on, but I wanted to do something a little bit special, show off kind of my mask and everything, and obviously the suit in the intro. I did change the intro too as well to be, something sort of more special. But we will be getting into this review here shortly. I just wanted to give a little bit of story time. Some people might just skip over this, which is fine. But it is just, a little piece of me for the whole lot of you. And, of course, I won't be wearing this mask the whole review because this thing is a bit sweaty. But I just want to let you guys know that this is a video that is very special to me, and I want it to be as good as possible. So, without further ado, let's get into the review, actually, shall we? So I'm gonna list off a bunch of things about this. This is my first Hot Toys figure, so it is going to be a little bit janky. because my setup is mainly for 6-scale figures, because that's mainly what I collect. So this is going to be a journey. It's going to be something new. Going into the more higher end collectibles is going to be something that is very different, and I just hope that it is as good as I can make it. I will do my best. I honestly, I have no other words. You know what? Let's just get into the review. So, without further ado, let's bust open this bad boy right here. This is just to take a look at how big the box is next to my body. But yeah, so let's bust him out. But first off, let's definitely take a look at my other Toby figures. So, as you could tell, I am a pretty big Tobey Maguire Spider-Man fan. I have pretty much almost a lot of the stuff that I wanted to get, but I have a couple other things that I had in my childhood that I don't have anymore that I do want to get. I do have the figure arts, and of course that little toothbrush thing there, that was actually from my toothbrush when I was actually very little. I have a little Lego, I have the little water squirters from when I was little. And on this side, that's kind of my symbiote stuff. I did the custom Legends video, of course, so that video is out there for you to watch. I have that custom one there. And I did a custom figure arts one too as well. And the Venom water squirter there, and the pop in the back. And also there's the mask front and center. And I have the old Toy Biz figure there too. Now this is just my Spidey figures. I do have the villains. But I will show the villains off another time, because right now it's just for Toby. But here is the box first off, and we'll take a look at the box. Now if there's one thing Hot Toys does good, it's these boxes, man. And, for the No Way Home stuff, they do the same kind of box for every figure, but that's alright. It is part of a wave, technically. But just taking a look at it here, this is a pretty nice box. So we got the Toby just portrait here, just looking so good. I really do love this render. Even though it is the No Way Home version, right here you got Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Got the nice little texturing on the box here too as well. I really do love that. Got the Hot Toys logo, Movie Masterpiece logos there. And yeah, it looks really, really, really good. And on the side here, that is actually an image of the figure. Got some electric here. Got some of Toby's hand there. You actually do have a scene from the movie there too at the bottom, which is pretty cool. And then towards the back here, just a bunch of nonsense. I'm not going to read it. A bunch of warning labels and stuff, but still nice designs. Got the Doc Ock tentacle right there with the Doctor Strange portal. Looking pretty nice. And, of course, back to the top here. Just kind of, bland little logos and stuff like that. But, yeah, it's a pretty nice looking box. And, honestly, it does have a slip cover, so we will slip that off and see what it looks like underneath. So, this is what it looks like underneath, and you got this very nice window you can see the figure in. Sorry, I gotta pick up my camera. He is a pretty big boy. And you can see all the web accessories in there, the figure, all the hands. Obviously, the head sculpt there too as well. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man on the side. On the back, it's the same stuff. On the other side, it's the same stuff. Nothing too special. And at the top, it's just the same thing because there's just a slip cover on it. And having him out of the box here, get a very nice look at all of his accessories and whatnot. And just take another look here. And he just looks so good in the box there. I almost don't want to take it out, because I really do not want to damage my figure. And here we got the figure out of the box, and man, oh man, is this thing crazy. I did mess with it just a little bit, just to kind of, just familiarize myself with the figure itself. But there are some things that I will actually go over about him that I've kind of already just experienced in the review. But, of course, his review. But we will actually go over the instruction manual first, because it is important. So when you get a Hot Toys figure, you will get these instructions, and it is very important to actually read these, because every Hot Toys figure is different. But as you can see, it says the outfit is not detachable. Don't try to take it off, otherwise it may get damaged. Do not excessively bend the arms or legs. Do not place the figure in areas with high temperatures and humidity. And of course, down here, You got a bunch of different accessory stuff, how to swap out the heads, how to equip the web strings and stuff like that. And here is some of the posing, at least the recommended posing limit for this Toby figure. Obviously leg movement as well. And towards the back here, how to use some of the other accessories. Be careful with the ankles. How to use the stands. And it does show the deluxe base stuff, but I didn't get the deluxe version because that deluxe version has a lot of issues. So here are all the accessories laid out on display. Now let's take a look at each one individually. So first off, we'll take a look at the stand here. And of course, it is your kind of classic looking Hot Toys stand here. A little bit bland on the logoing, in my opinion at least. It's just the spider. It does look clean. I'm not gonna lie, it does look pretty clean. But I think maybe you could have used a little some extra, just because the Doc Ock and Green Goblin are a little bit different. But you do have the No Way Home logo there. Very nice reflective spider base. And you do have the nameplate, which, I mean, it's not wrong. It is the Friendly Neighborhood branding, but I wish it did kind of say something a little bit different. But, of course, you do have the kind of waist clamp kind of thing here. If you watch Justin's collection, he definitely does not recommend those. Neither do I, but, that's the only display option we get, unfortunately. But, of course, to use this, you kind of just open the clamp here. It does have some padding on it, too, as well. But this padding will dig into the figures, which is unfortunate, and you do just clamp it open like that and just kind of place it around him. It is on this kind of like flight pole too as well. So taking a look at some of the other stuff he comes with, we'll just go over these webs here. It's your kind of standard, Hot Toys Spider-Man webs from what I've kind of been seeing with a lot of the Hot Toys Spidey figs, except for the PlayStation ones, which is a little bit odd. They have different webs, but these are the kind of standard like movie webs. So you have this big long one. That's pretty nice. I do like how it's in these foam pieces. And, of course, you do have this kind of like almost like funnel web type of web piece here that actually gets connected to other web pieces, which is pretty interesting. It's all very nicely, it's semi-painted. There's a little bits of silver here and there, but it's, for the most part, just clear plastic. And then, of course, here is the major kind of web set here. You got these two kind of Thwipper kind of ones, and you got these two kind of medium size, kind of longer ones at least. And you do have this really big, long, extended one, which doesn't look too bad. But yeah, that is pretty much it for the kind of web swinging accessory little webs. And then, of course, you do get, with every Hot Toys figure, 2 extra joints. I believe these are mainly for the hands. And then with the No Way Home Spidey, of course, you do get the Sandman kind of cure. This thing is painted up pretty nice. Does not look too bad at all. Very nice paint work. Very nice sculpt work. As I would expect with Hot Toys, this actual wire here is actually more on the loose side to create some 3D effect. And yeah, it looks pretty nice. No problems with it. Although, it's not really an accessory I'm going to be using. That's still nice to get it. And it does look pretty decent, in my opinion. It's not too bad. I would be careful of these because they seem like they flex a little bit and they could break. Very nice paint work up at the top right here. And yeah, it kind of looks more like a telescope, in my opinion. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the Sandman cure. And then, of course, we have the just kind of regular mask here, which, you don't put it on the figure. It's not going to fit on. It's just for holding. It's just kind of the unmasked accessory. It is pretty silly looking. You can put it on your finger and kind of have like a Spider-Man finger puppet, which looks pretty goofy. But yeah, it's very nice. Yeah, definitely don't recommend putting it on the unmasked head sculpt because it will not fit. You'll just damage your figure. But yeah, it's a nice little mask. And I could probably have the other villains hold it and everything. Really do like the webbing, of course, and the pattern on it. But yeah, not too much to say about that little mask there. And of course, we have the unmasked head sculpt, which we will take a longer look at in a bit here. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty nice, very nicely painted and sculpted. Really does look like Tobey Maguire. It's actually kind of crazy. But as far as this head goes, actually, mine looks like it's kind of falling apart there, which kind of sucks because I kind of just got this figure. Anyway, yeah. The whole thing about Hot Toys being movie masterpieces, it's kind of a mixed bag sometimes, and surely this Tobey figure has had a lot of mixed bags. But anyway, down to some of the other stuff here. He has a full array of hands. So he does, of course, have thwippers, because what Spider-Man is a Spider-Man without his thwipper hands. So he does have these. And I think these are painted sculpted nice, but these hands have some issues, which I will actually get into as well. But yeah, as you can see, they look pretty nice. Not too bad looking. Love the sculpt work. You can see the faint kind of brick pattern on there, just to kind of, go inside with the suit as well, because the suit does have that same pattern, and I think these are sculpted pretty nicely. So that's pretty much it for the thwipper hands. But you do also get this piece too as well, and these go along with the thwipper hands as well. But I will actually show that off real quick. You just kind of unpeg that part right there, and you just kind of peg on this part here, like so, and it just kind of snaps on in, and has this web piece, which will be used to attach the webs when we attach the webs onto him. But that's pretty much how that looks right there. Doesn't look too bad. I think it looks really good. It's a very nice seamless transition, so yeah, it's not too bad. But as far as other hands, he has two different types of open hands here. He has this kind of like more splayed out hand, and he has this kind of slight splayed out hand. Two different hands you can use for different things. He has two kind of wall crawling hands, or just open hands in general. But of course they are all, pretty much painted and sculpted the same, so I won't go over any of that until I talk about my issues with them. But yeah, they're pretty nice wall crawling hands there. And of course he does come with fists right here, but these aren't any types of fists. This fist right here has two holes in it to actually hold on to the big web. So there's a hole at the top there, and there's a hole at the bottom. This is kind of like a slight fist, but it's mainly for holding the mask or the Sandman cure. And as you can see, a lot of my problems are already starting to come up, but I feel like this hand was intentionally not painted all the way, just for the accessories, but at the same time, it's a movie masterpiece figure. It's a Hot Toys figure. They're expensive. I would kind of expect that area to be painted. Even if it's going to scratch, I would still kind of expect it to be painted, just in case I won't use it for holding things. But here we do have the pointer fingers, of course, because it's Spider-Man. You need him to point at other Spider-Man to create that hoo-hoo-ha-ha little funny meme. But yeah, you get these. They're not too bad. So that's pretty much it for all of his accessories. He does come with quite a bit, so let's take a look at things individually. So, taking a look at things a little bit more individually, let's take a look at the hands here. As you can see, I did go over detail just a little bit, but there are some problems. Yay. As you can see, those web lines aren't exactly painted on the sculpt. And looking on the inside here, this is a little disappointing too. Those web lines aren't painted, but I understand that maybe that's for a reason. But there's no reason that these web lines on the top here should be off-centered. Like, that is just... This is a Hot Toys figure. This figure is like $300. And it's not just that hand, because if we take a look at some other hands, this hand's even missing webbing. Like, when it goes into the crevices right there of the knuckles, it's missing just a little bit on the sculpt. Just a little bit of it's missing. and it's kind of ridiculous. I mean, and as you see right here, it is way off there. It's like not even trying. And it's not like, and oh my god, I'm just really mad. But take a look at this hand too. You can see right there, it's missing some of the webs. Right there and there. Checking the inside here. That one looks pretty on the decent side, but let's take a look at some of the other hands. See, it's missing there, there. Taking a look around. Seems to be decent. But still, like, this is a $300 figure, and it's a Hot Toys figure. I expect, at least at the most, a decent job. And, paint's one thing that Hot Toys is, really known for and everything. But I think it's just ridiculous that, these are issues. So, hand problems aside, let's take a look at, how some of these webs work. So, for the first hand here and this kind of bigger web accessory, we'll just kind of take that out. Basically, what you do is you just kind of feed the top part in and the bottom part of the pegs on the webs here, and just kind of squeeze it on in so that way he holds both ends. And that's pretty much how he holds the kind of, web swinging type of kind of web there. So, this web, I really do like this one. I actually am going to use that one in my display for him. Now, taking a look at some of the other ones, we'll take this kind of like second longer one, and with this one, using the same fist, you just kind of feed it through right there, and that's pretty much how he holds that web right there. Now, taking a look at his thwipper hands, of course, you probably saw me earlier taking this piece off and replacing it with this piece, which just kind of pegs on there. And it's a very seamless transition. I think it's really nice. I really do like how that works. And we're going to take any of these 4 ones here. So we'll just use these kind of smaller ones here for right now. And you just kind of, there's a little hole there that you just kind of peg it on in. It's a little tricky, but once you get it in, it's in there pretty securely. So I definitely be careful. Make sure you hold it with both hands. And that's pretty much how you use that kind of thwipper piece there. So we're just going to take that out. And we're going to take one of these longer ones. Now, it's pretty much the same thing. Definitely just make sure you use both hands just to get it in there without bending it. And make sure you do it as close to the peg as possible so you don't break it. It is a $300 figure, of course, so you're going to want to be as careful as possible. And that's pretty much how that works. Now, as you can see, it's an unfinished web. That's because you get this piece. So this piece pretty much uses the same type of, peg-in system. So again, just using both fingers, making sure it's secure, just kind of getting it in there. And that's pretty much how you use the web accessories. This is okay. I probably won't be displaying it with this, though. It's kind of mid. Also, not to mention that longer piece we just had taken a look at, you can also put the funnel web kind of spider web piece on that too as well. So it is interchangeable with the 2 different types of strands, and of course, I'll show that here. You can just pretty much do the same thing with it. They're okay. Now, taking a look at this kind of holdy hand, we're going to bring in the Sandman Cure, and of course that just kind of scoots on in to the hand there like that, and that's pretty much how he holds the Sandman Cure. This hand has another function too, which I will show off right now. So bringing in the same hand here and taking this mask accessory. So what you're going to do is just kind of fold this mask in any way possible as best you can. It is a little finicky, but you're going to try and squeeze the mask on in, trying very carefully so I don't, ruin the webbing on the mask. And it's going to be a little bit stiff to get in there, but, if with enough, finicking and, working around it, you can definitely make it work. It's just this thing is a little bit tricky to get to actually work well. But See if I can get it here. And yeah, that looks like that's as best as I'm going to be able to get it for right now, because I really don't want to damage it. But yeah, that's pretty much the mask holding hand. So, I mean, it's not too bad. It'd be nice for the display. Now, here is the other accessory. His unmasked head. And if one thing that Hot Toys is really good at, it's likenesses. Well, at least most of the time. I think this likeness is actually one of their best. It looks pretty good, and I know I say, one of their best is if I own a bunch of Hot Toys, but I don't. But I watch Justin's collection quite a bit, and it definitely is, one of their best head sculpts, and I think it looks pretty good. The sculpting on the hair is, pretty cool and pretty good. I like the colors that they chose. I feel like his skin tone's a bit dark, but other than that, I think it's pretty perfect. And as you can see, they got the stubble and everything done up. Looks like there's a little bit of blemish on the side of that head there. But yeah, he does look pretty nice. I really do love the skin tone. I love this part of the suit around the neck. It just looks really nice. And just trying to get that one piece to stop coming off there. So yeah, I really do like this head, and I think it captures Tobey Maguire's likeness pretty well. So, bringing in the Tobey figure here, how to exchange the heads, you just kind of grab onto his head here, being very careful as possible. You're just going to try and wiggle it off, like so, and then, I'm just going to make sure I didn't damage my figure there for a second. Then you're just going to, take it off just on that kind of like, peg system there. And then we're going to bring in the unmasked head and just kind of just peg it on. And that is pretty much how it goes. I really do like this system for, swapping heads and stuff. I think it's pretty nice. Sorry, this kind of setup is going to be a little bit janky. I have not reviewed a figure this big before. Well, at least not in this review station. So I'm trying my best to kind of show it off. So I guess I'll just have to move it up here closer. But, yeah, I mean, it's a really nice looking head sculpt. And I really do like this system that Hot Toys uses for the Spider-Man figures for, swapping the heads and stuff like that. Because most of the time it looks really nice and seamless. But in this case, I still think it's a good system. It's just, in this case, I can still kind of see the seam, which kind of sucks. This figure does have a lot of fair share of issues, but still, I really do like this thing. And, of course, you do have some articulation with him. You can do side to side, of course, and all that. So it is a, pretty good and accurate looking head sculpt. Minus some of its issues, but I think without further ado, let's get on to the actual figure himself. And of course, here he is. Now, taking a look at the figure himself, finally. Sorry, he does just have a lot of stuff. So let's take a look at his details first. I absolutely love the texturing and the tailoring on this figure. But if I did have one minor gripe, it is the material that was used for the blue sections. Because as you can see, the blue and the red sections are different materials. And I think this figure would have benefited a lot if the blue sections were just screen printed fabric. And like not this kind of like almost rubbery type of honestly, I don't even know what it is. It's like some weird type of like rubber almost. But of course, you got the webbing on the boots here, which looks really nice. You could see that brick pattern on the red sections right there. And of course it is on the blue sections as well, but it is in that weird, strange material. And the boot is a full covered boot, of course. And at the bottom here, he does have plastic soles using this new technique that they use with these Spider-Man figures, which I really do like. And we'll get into that with the articulation segment, though. And, of course, you see more of that brick pattern here. Some very, very, very nice work on this figure. And as you can see, there is actually shading for the muscles there, too. Just like how the normal suit actually has and everything. Bear with me here. There's a lot to go over with him. I really do like this raised kind of spider logo here. And I really, really, really do like this raised webbing. It looks super nice. And just kind of giving a spin around here. His back spider logo is also raised and picked out very nice in that red. It's a very nice red that they chose for that. And as you can see, going up around the arms here as well, you can still see that, neckline for the seam for when you swap out the heads, which kind of sucks, but, it is what it is. Now, this head sculpt, this is where the problem areas are. Mine does have the seam at the top, but it's not as noticeable. I really do actually like the silhouette of this mask, on the side at least. But yeah, as you can see, I do have the seam on top of the head, but it's not too bad. Maybe on camera it looks bad, but in person it really is not that bad, because I do have a second batch Toby, a post from the first batch, which I will throw up a picture right now of that first batch Toby. That thing was just, man. And as you can see, with the first batch Toby picture being on the right and the second batch Toby being on the left side, you can begin to see some of the differences, especially with the nose section. But at least on mine, I did get the second batch, so I'm pretty happy with it. And I really do actually quite like the lenses that they did on this mask. I like how it, kind of shows that pattern on his lenses like he has. But yeah, there are some problems. I do wish the seam was maybe on the back of the head. It would have been, a lot better. But, beggars can't be choosers, I guess, even though it is a $300 figure. So, now getting into his articulation. It is my copy of the figure, so I'm going to be a bit sparingly opposed to what you guys might do. But, again, it is my copy of the figure, and I spent quite a bit of money because I am poor, just like Spider-Man is. So, taking a look at his articulation, his head can go up probably about that far. It can go down about that far. He does have some side to side, and he can look left and right about that far. As far as his arms go, no butterfly joints, but his arm can go up about that far before the costume starts to restrict it. Right there, as you can see, it is stretching quite a bit, so I'm pushing it as far as I'm wanting to make it go. And this is the problem with this kind of blue material stuff. It's very, very unforgiving. But anyway, his arm can go forward about that far, back about that far. He does have a bend at the elbow there. It is double jointed. His wrist does swing around and hinge like so. And as far as the torso goes, he does have some slight side to side, but he does crunch forward on ratchets about that far forward and that far back. Just make sure you line it back up. And as for the legs, he can only move out about that far before the costume starts to restrict it. He can move his leg forward about that far, back about that far. He does have some thigh swivel, double jointed knees. He does have foot articulation that goes down about that far, up about that far. The toe bend, which is a very interesting system, and I don't think he has any ankle pivot, but he does have a swivel at the ankle. I know that. So I mean, he's very limited, unless you're feeling a bit risky and freaky and you want to, break your figure. But me personally, I'm not going to do that. And I'm just noticing right now that there is this weird seam on mine. Speaking of that weird seam, let's actually take a look at it. So, This seam right here, very stitched up very nicely, but then get to this seam here. What happened? This thing looks almost Frankenstein together. This is a very unsightly seam. And yeah, also another thing too is he can't exactly fully put his arms to the side, but let's just stand him back there for right now and just kind of, take a look at him, because he's not meant to pose around a lot. He is a museum piece. But speaking of museum pieces, let's talk about his scale. So here he is with arguably the, I'd say, the best version of Toby to get, at least in the modern day, as far as anything that has come out. Obviously, the Mafex isn't out yet, but here's also the Marvel Legends Figure 2 for scale. So we have both the Figure Arts Toby and the Marvel Legends here next to the Hot Toys one. And, well, of course, we gotta also bring in the original Toy Biz Toby, just to see, kind of the evolution of this character in action figure form. Shout out to Glenn Webb for that one. But, yeah, so obviously you can see here, the Hot Toys one is definitely bigger, but doesn't mean that these other ones are bad either. It just means that, sometimes bigger just isn't better. And for some other comparisons here, I do have the Hot Toys Green Goblin. And I will do a video on him sometime down the road. But they do look really good together. I'm actually really loving how they look next to each other. Now, both this Green Goblin and, obviously Toby here share the same issue of not really being too posable. Green Goblin's a bit more posable in certain areas, except for where he needs it, which is the legs. But I'll talk about that when I review Green Goblin himself. But yeah, I think these guys scale pretty well with each other, and I will definitely be displaying them next to each other. And yep, that's right, I also have Hot Toys Doc Ock. He was actually the first one I got in the line. But yeah, this is a dream come true, honestly. Having, both of the two main big villains from Toby's trilogy and Toby himself. I really love how these look together, and my Hot Toys display is pretty much almost complete. I do actually have two other ones in order, but I won't disclose which ones those are. Carnage. Black Suit Spider-Man Toby. I don't know what that was, but maybe that was a future calling or whatever. But anyway, yeah, they look pretty good together. So, for some final thoughts, is this the best Toby figure in my collection? Like how I pretty much anticipated it to be? Yes and no. Yeah, it's a Hot Toys figure. It's got some things with it that I really do like. Obviously, the realistic suit and all that. So I'd say for my standards, I think it is. As far as posability goes, quite limited, but it's because of that material. If they didn't use that material and just use like a regular cloth material, like how they have a Hot Toys Scarlet Spider, I think that would have worked out a lot better for at least Toby. So that way he'd be a little more posable and he would look a little more accurate. Now, he does look really nice posed up next to the other villains. He's a very nice piece to have. Some other issues, the hands, the web lines being like off-centered and almost unpainted in certain areas with the hands, that is just uncalled for. As a Hot Toys figure, it's an expensive figure. I expect it to at least be perfect as possible. Now, I know these things are mass-produced nowadays, so there are going to be some, inconsistencies and stuff like that, but that's just something that just should not go through the production line, unnoticed. But obviously he does look pretty nice with Green Goblin here too as well. The web accessories are your run-of-the-mill accessories. They're everywhere in every Spider-Man figure for the most part. His mask is pretty good. I really do like it. My only issue is obviously that seam line. If they just put the seam line on the back of the head, it wouldn't have been a big deal. And I think it would look just as fine. I really do wish that they did that. Anything else really would probably just be me nitpicking. But at the end of the day, I like it. I think it's perfect. I think it's great. But that is the end of this review. Stay tuned for more. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.